Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Just Law on IQRA TV. I'm your host Ilyas Bulbulia. This is the second part to the show. Just before the break, we were looking at spouse applications, how a spouse in the United Kingdom can sponsor their husband or wife to come to the United Kingdom. And we were looking at the financial requirement that needs to be met, which is the requirement which causes the most problems for applicants who want to come here to join their husband or wife. So we were looking at how the financial requirement can be met, and in particular we hear a lot about this 18,600 rule. When are you exempt from this 18,600 rule? And where we reached to was that I explained that if the spouse in the United Kingdom is in receipt of certain benefits, they are mainly disability related benefits. If they are in receipt of certain benefits, then the spouse in the UK, when meeting the financial requirement, doesn't need to be earning £18,600 per annum. There's an exemption to that. I'll look at that in greater detail after I've taken the next call. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Huzaifa back here.
Ji, all right. Ji, Huzaifa.
Hello, sir.
Ji, Huzaifa, all right. I think you broke up last time as we were talking on the phone. Ji, Huzaifa.
Yeah, I just finished my uni and I'm going towards my home. That's why.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay, sir. Can I put my university address in my NIN number in form?
No, that might cause a problem. They will want you to use a residential address.
Okay.
The problem is this. You know, when you apply for a national insurance number, they may call you for an interview. They may do that.
Okay.
And when you're called in for an interview, they might pick up on the fact that you haven't provided a proper address. So you should provide a proper address, a residential address.
Okay. And
you could, if you live in university accommodation,
okay,
that's different. But you can't just provide a university address in itself. You know, if you live in student halls, there's no problem. You can provide that. But if you don't, you should provide a residential address.
Okay, sir. And are you doing application for changing university? Are you doing something like that?
We can do that. It's not a problem. What we normally ask students to do is do the first bit, which is to get a certificate of acceptance of studies, the CAS letter. We ask them to get a CAS letter from the new university. So they need to go through the process themselves to get a CAS letter. So once you've got the CAS letter, then obviously we can do the visa side of things, the immigration side of things. But there's two bits to it now. The CAS letter is one, then the visa application is the second bit to it.
Okay, currently I am living in United Kingdom, so I need to do again process for visa.
Yes, so what will happen is once you find a university which is prepared to issue you with a CAS letter, and the CAS letter ideally would be starting for the period September onwards. So let's say they're prepared to issue with a CAS letter which starts from September. Once you have that, you would need to apply for a Tier 4 visa again. Because your current Tier 4 sponsor will be your current university. And what you need is another Tier 4 sponsor. And because you've got when you get the new Tier 4 sponsor, the visa has to be linked to that Tier 4 sponsor.
Okay. What are the chances, what are the ratio of visa decline in that?
You should be granted it. As normally there's an issue about showing progress, but in my view, one of the reasons I was highlighting before, when you called in before the break, was that try and do it where you start the second year of the course at a different university. So progress isn't an issue. So it doesn't look like you're wasting time in the UK. You are progressing. Now you're moving on to the second year. progress is normally an issue. Now the second issue is the financial requirement. So university fees and plus the savings that you need in your bank account, that would have to be shown again. Those calculations would have to be done again, and you would have to meet that financial requirement, the maintenance requirement again.
Okay. And I am new in United Kingdom, and I don't know how to open bank account.
Okay.
Can you guide me?
Yeah, the bank account isn't a problem, because the starting point is this, that you have the right to live in the United Kingdom, which is evidenced by the fact that you have a biometric card, which will show that you've got the right to live here. So the first requirement is met, that you've got legal stay. The second is that the Home Office will want to know, the bank will want to know where you live, and they will want some proof of your address. So what it boils down to again is you need to pick an address as your correspondence address, and you'll need that for your national insurance number. And if you get some correspondence at that address, maybe a bill in your name, you'll be able to use that to prove your residence when you open a bank account. So as a student, opening a bank account is no problem. So there's no problem. But obviously the bank will have its own set of conditions that need to be fulfilled. One is you've got the legal right to live here, which you can show, and proof of residence. Yeah.
And which bank is a benefit for students?
It's whatever you find easier. Don't just go with any major high street branch. Any major high street branch is fine. There are online branches now as well. If you find any well-established branch, you can't have a problem there. See, on air we're not able to sort of promote or give any names on air, so I can't tell you who I bank with. But any major branch, you'd have no problems at all, because your banking requirements are going to be quite simple. You'll have your savings in there. You might be working. You'll have your income coming in there, and you'll have your normal expenses that a student has, maybe a bit of rent, some bills, etc. So you don't need anything complicated. Any normal branch, if I can call it that, is okay for you.
Okay. Can I show temporary address in NIN number and bank account?
You can do. A lot of students will have temporary addresses. It's not uncommon for a student to move to a couple of different addresses. But if you get one address for the time being, try and get one or two bills or documents at that address, and use that to get your national insurance number, use that to get your bank account opened as well. After that, it's much easier to change addresses. It's not a problem once your bank account is opened up. But students will have different addresses. It's all very transient. They move from one to another. That's not a problem. You don't need an address where you're going to live there for the next 3 years. Just an address.
Okay. I'm facing another problem. The university is saying that I can't change my timetable, because there is only one lecture for 1 hour on Friday, and I have to wake up like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I have to travel whole to Coventry for that one lecture. So can I change that? They are saying no.
See, in the end, when it comes to the actual course and the hours when the lectures take place, that's obviously in the control of the university. Now, if you start missing courses, then what the university will say to you is that, look, we're giving you we're giving you a warning, etc. Yeah, if you keep on missing, you could be reported to the Home Office. So you should try and comply with what the university's requirements are in terms of attending courses. But that's you should try and comply with that. But thank you very much for your call. Hopefully that answers the vast majority of your questions. But as I said, the starting point really is for you is if you want to move from this university, you need to find another university which is prepared to be the sponsor, the tier 4 sponsor. And when you find that university, please get them to issue you with a CAS letter, and then the next steps will follow after that. But that's what you need to be focusing on. Let's go to our next call. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Ji, thank you for calling.
How are you, brother? You alright?
Alhamdulillah, good. How are you? You okay?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Good.
Just need to repeat question again. I asked you like 2-3 weeks ago as well.
No problem. Yep, sure.
Regarding about the my extension coming soon in April, mid of April.
I understand. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so like 2.5-year extension.
Okay. You're on a spouse visa at the moment, is it?
It's spouse visa.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
So, like I told you last time, that I've been working for part-time since like 1.5 years, 2 years.
Okay, I understand.
And you said at least you need to show to the Home Office for 5-year route, 6 months or 7 months full-time work.
Yes.
18,600
pounds. Yeah, or you can combine it with your wife's work or.
Yeah. No, because she's not working.
She's not working.
We got like a 2- and 3-year-old child.
I understand.
She can't work.
I understand. Yep. Understand.
So we just getting 800 something pound help from Universal Credit.
Yeah. Okay. I understand.
And I joined the company full time, Ocado delivery driver. But what happened? Unfortunately, I worked for them 2 months. And I apply for PCV license for bus driving.
Okay.
Because they have opportunity, they can, spend money on us and this and that. But unfortunately, I failed theory test.
All right. Okay.
But when I failed the theory test, they said we can't keep you until you can go and pass privately.
Okay.
And you can come back to us.
Okay.
But they just gave us only 1 week salary.
Okay.
And they stopped.
Right.
And I left the job because they didn't explain us in the beginning what's going to happen.
Okay, I understand.
And now I am start driving taxi until I can clear the PCV and CPC test.
I understand.
For bus driving.
Okay, I understand.
So now I'm driving taxi since last week.
I understand.
So I spoke to my accountant.
Yep.
And because it's self-employed job.
Yep.
So what is the suggestion from you? What shall I do? Because how can I show them 18,600 pound a month? So yeah.
I understand. The problem.
What shall I do? I don't understand what to do now.
I understand. Now, the self-employment that you have at the moment, you won't be able to. You won't have earned enough money from that to meet the requirement, because with self-employment, what they will look at is your earnings for the full financial year from April 2019 to March 2020. So they look at how much have you earned whilst you've been self-employed in that period. Now, if you've just started self-employment now, the problem is your income will be for February and March, 2 months of income. So realistically, the income will come up to about £3,500. It won't meet the 18,600 requirement. In terms of you can add in employment, but you need employment income now as well. That's the problem. So you could say that, look, my self-employment income from April to March is £3,000. You can then show that from employment I earned £10,000. You can add it all together, but there are two things.
Because I totally yesterday from my part-time employment and last 2 month employment is more than £11,000.
But there are two things that you need to bear in mind if you add. Because the starting point now is not your income, it's your self-employment, which is the starting point. And that's the period you're looking at. So think about it as if you have to demonstrate all your income from April 2019 to March 2020. What did you earn in that period? That's what we're looking at now. So you've got self-employment income, you've got employment income. But there are two things you need to bear in mind about the employment income. The main thing is, it can only be during that period, April 19 to March 20, plus you need to be working in employment now as well. This is the difficulty.
Right.
So you can't just say, you know what, I'm now self-employed. Previously I was employed, add them all together. Yes, you can add them if you are still working as well. This is where the difficulty is, because the rules, to me, it sounds like it's going to be very difficult for you to meet the financial requirement. It's going to be very difficult to meet the because I've had this before. When people start self-employment quite late, they give up the job and they start self-employment, and they say, look, I'm earning enough from my self-employment, which is fine, but you must have earned enough in that 1 year during that financial year. You can add your employment income, yes you can, but you must still be working as well. This is the problem. So if I give you an example, if for example you've got £3,000 of income from self-employment, you've got £16,000 of employment income combined, it's £19,000. Fantastic, right? You can do that. You must be working now, earning that money as well. If you don't, most people in your situation can't meet the financial requirement. It's just, and there isn't enough time to play around with things. Had you done this 6 months ago, then what you could have done, you could have really worked a lot of hours in your self-employment, forget employment, and get your 18,600 just in those 6 months. But because you've started so late, it's not difficult to earn enough in February and March. Had you done it in September, it would have been possible. But to me, it looks like potentially you're going to end up on the 10-year route to settlement now. But thank you very much for your call. Thank you. We've got another call waiting. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji walaikum salam. Ji, thank you for calling.
Sir, I would like to ask you two questions relating to the citizenship and nationalization application, which is due to 13th of March 2020.
Okay.
Just briefly talking about my previous immigration history.
Okay.
I came to the UK first in 14th October 2006 as a student, and subsequently granted all the application and the visa up to 2013.
Okay.
And all applications were in time.
Okay.
And switching to Tier 2, General.
Okay.
And in 2016, it was extension on 10th of July.
Okay.
And that was refused and got admin review.
Okay.
And admin review was exhausted on 12th of September 2016. Still 31 days left for pick up a 10 years long residence application.
Okay.
However, at that time, 28 days was disregardable. And on the basis of that, I applied on 20th of September, which is within 8 days of disregarding period, relying on that rules. And however, my 10 years long residence application was refused on 28th of November.
Okay, I understand.
Got in-country right of appeal related to my 10 years boy,
I understand.
British boy.
Okay.
And appeal was allowed on 2018, February 2018.
Okay.
Got Article 8.
Okay.
They put me for 10 years long residence again.
I understand.
Groups.
Yep.
I sent a couple of letters to the Home Office saying, like, actually, I was eligible for 10 years. Can you just revert it to ILR?
Yeah.
And they didn't reply me back.
Okay, I understand.
Within 1 year, I applied for indefinite leave to remain.
Okay.
And got in 1 day, indefinite leave to remain on 13th of March 2019.
You're very lucky.
Luckily. But my question are two. One is, do you think that they will dig out these 8 days of disregarding period while I'm applying for the naturalization?
No, it won't be a problem. It won't be a problem for nationality. It won't be a problem.
Great. And the other one is good character. Here, I don't have any caution or anything. Just one thing is my work was seized. I haven't worked last 1 year and 5 months while my visa wasn't there. And then I was on credit card, and I used credit card for the hearing and this and that, all the solicitors related. And nearly about £30,000 are just on due.
Right.
So do you think that they're gonna license whatsoever.
So at the moment, do you have any civil judgments against you?
No, sir, nothing.
There's no
bankruptcy.
There's no bankruptcy. Yeah, then it's not.
No,
a
I
problem.
just paying them off. Settle with the charity and then paying monthly basis. Yeah.
There's no problem at all with that either. So just going back, one is your slight overstaying when you resubmitted the application for long residence, which resulted in the appeal. The slight overstaying, because the application was made within 28 days, won't affect your nationality application. You're very lucky that you got it under long residence, because under long residence at the moment they're refusing these applications. But for nationality, there's no problem at all. And in terms of your question about the slight problems with money, again, there's absolutely no problem at all. If you had judgments against you, or if you had a bankruptcy petition issued by you or against you, that could, I'm not saying it would, it could potentially have an adverse effect on your nationality application. But simply having debts, it's not something which can be used by the Home Office to refuse your nationality application based on character. So on both fronts, I know you've gone through quite a difficult process to get to where you are, but on both fronts, I'm confident there won't be any problems, and your nationality application should go through without any difficulty. And I think the date you've given for your nationality application is the 13th of March 2020, so I can't see any difficulties either way. So definitely have no concerns about that. Don't worry about that. Get your nationality application.
If I ask you to go with you for the application process, will you do that for me, sir?
Yeah, there's absolutely no problem.
And how do I get your addresses?
If you leave your number with the control room, I will give you a ring. It is a fairly straightforward application. I'm happy to guide you if you want to do it yourself, or I'm happy to.
No, sir. I just got risk last time, so I don't want to take any risk.
I know.
I want a safe hand.
Absolutely no problem. If you leave your number with the control room, I'll call you back. If it's not today, I'll give you a ring tomorrow, and then I can take you through what needs to be done. But either way, from what you've described, there's nothing to worry about. You meet the requirements. There's nothing to worry about. I know why you're raising these concerns, but legally, based on the immigration rules, based on experience, you're okay. Okay, thank you very much for that. If you just leave your number with the control room, I will call you back. If not later on today, then or tomorrow, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, right. Just before we took the questions, we were looking at spouse applications, in particular the financial requirement. The exemption to that is where somebody is receiving disability benefits or carers allowance, and I was taking you through what the financial requirement is in that situation, and we sort of made some progress on that. Now, I think we sort of went through that in a bit of detail. So what we'll do next week is finish that off and to look at some other aspects of immigration law, and in particular how, once you're in the United Kingdom, how you extend your visa. So whatever questions that you have, because we've run out of time today, inshallah, if you give me a ring next week on Monday, we should be able to deal with that. In particular, what I want to look at next week is that, okay, you've met all the requirements, your spouse here has met all the requirements, you've managed to get your visa, and you're here in the UK. The problem doesn't end there. The problem is that there are still ongoing requirements, and we've had questions about nationality today. Fantastic. We've had questions about extensions. So this issue about meeting requirements, getting documents together, that continues. That continues when you apply for the extension, that continues when you apply for indefinite leave, and that continues when you apply for nationality. We'll look at that, start looking at that next week, inshallah, on Monday at 6 o'clock. Until then, Assalamu alaikum.